Exterior, the God's Eye, day. Brienne of Tarth follows Bran and Sansa Stark in a small boat. The vessel floats in a vast lake surrounded by snow-covered trees. In the distance, an island grows larger with each stroke of the oars. It's quiet, peaceful.
I wonder if Jon has reached King's Landing.
They are close, as are we. They don't know we are here.
How could they? We're leagues apart.
Not Jon, the children of the forest.
I thought no one had set foot on the Isles of Faces for thousands of years.
The children have been here all along.
Are they dangerous?
They created the Night King.
Brienne and Sansa exchange a concerned look.
Why did they do that?
To fight men.
Brienne and Sansa scan the approaching island for danger. Bran remains in his peaceful, strangely meditative state. Exterior, the Isle of Faces, shore, day. Bone-white weirwood trees populate the isle, each one bearing an old, carved face. The dark, rich red leaves rustle in the breeze. Old leaves break off and float gracefully to the snowy earth. Brienne and Sansa place Bran's wheelchair on the shore. They hear soft crunch, crunch, crunch in the distance. Brienne unsheaths her sword.
What was that?
Step back, Lady Sansa.
A small green figure peers around the trunk of a massive weirwood tree. Then another. More children of the forest emerge from the grove. One child, Ash, steps forward, clearly the leader of the pack.
Brandon Stark.
Hello. You may put away your weapon, Lady Brienne. The children mean us no harm.
Brienne sheathes her sword, for now.
What is your purpose on the Isle of Faces?
I have come to defeat the Great Other.
The Great Other is south. Your place is there.
My place is here. I am the three-eyed raven.
Chatter spreads through the children. They whisper and speak in hushed tones.
Take us to the place where the pact was forged. That is where my sight will be the strongest.
Ash looks at Brienne and Sansa skeptically.
And who are they?
My family.
Come.
The children clear a path as Sansa pushes Bran's wheelchair up the shore. The children marvel at Brienne's massive stature as she walks past them.
Excuse me.
Ash motions the three to follow her into a weirwood forest. Exterior, Greyjoy's ship, sailing, day. A long ship chops through the sea. The House Greyjoy banner flaps violently in the wind. Theon Greyjoy stands on the bow, looking through the spyglass at the blue vastness. He sees dozens of ships bearing the standard of House Targaryen.
It's them! Hard to port!
Exterior, Balerion, deck, sailing, day. A gangplank slams hard on the deck of Balerion. Daenerys Targaryen and Jon Snow are surrounded by a ragtag group of Unsullied and Northmen across the bridge. Theon waits on the ship.
Permission to board?
Granted.
Theon crosses the gangplank. Interior, Balerion, cabin, sailing, day. The war consul convenes below deck as the ship rocks gently.
The Iron Fleet is 500 ships strong, and the Golden Company has at least 20,000 men. All for Queen Cersei.
We can take the city. We may not match their numbers, but we have what they don't.
Dragons.
Davos Seaworth steps up to the table.
Dragons must be mighty, but they are dangerous creatures. Their flames do not distinguish between friend and foe.
Do you presume to tell me that I cannot control my own dragons?
I mean no offense, Your Grace, but I saw what happened at Winterfell. We lost many good men to the flames.
Beric Dondarrion speaks from the corner.
A noble sacrifice.
I see no nobility in dying for nothing.
We all play our part in the game. You don't know what part that is until you die.
Your Lord of Light seems to require a lot of dying. I prefer a god that likes the living.
So Davos, would you rather face Cersei without my help?
Stop. Squabbling amongst ourselves is not the answer. Sir Davos is right. We cannot afford to lose any more men. Daenerys is also right. We need a dragons.
I hear, Sir Davos. I will help with the attack on the Iron Fleet where there is less risk to your men, but I will not stand by while your forces lose the gate.
Thank you, Your Grace.
Once Cersei is defeated, the Golden Company and Euron may rally to our cause.
Euron can't be trusted.
The Golden Company may join us if they know they won't find any profit in backing Cersei.
Then we need to stop Cersei.
You can leave that to me.
The Hound weighs in from the back of the room.
I and me. You won't get to Cersei unless you can get through my brother. The brute is mine to kill.
Varys steps up.
My services may be of use, my lords. I can secure access to the Red Keep, unbeknownst to the Golden Company or Euron.
We'll strike from the inside and out. The three of you will subdue Cersei. Theon and Daenerys will lead the fleet down the Blackwater Rush. So Davos and I will storm the Mudgate. Inform the fleet. We attack at first light.
The war party disbands as Daenerys approaches Theon.
Sir Greyjoy,
I am no sir, your grace.
tell me about your sister.
The two depart the war room. As Arya leaves, she stumbles. Jon moves to help her.
Stop fussing.
You need to rest.
Jon looks at Arya's disfigured face, its right half melted. A few bandages still cover her.
I'm well enough to fight. That's all that matters.
Someone who enters a fight well enough may leave on a pyre.
She gestures to her face.
I got to start on a pyre.
Don't jape. I can't bear it. I should have been there.
You were where you were supposed to be.
No, I mean, I went to the wall and left you. I left Bran, Sansa, Robb, Rickon.
As much as it pains me, and it does, that Dondarrion has a point. We all have our part to play in this game. Father couldn't protect us. Nobody could protect us. And maybe protection wasn't what we needed. Maybe we had to go through everything to prepare us for this battle, this moment.
When did you get so wise?
Look at me. I wasn't wise enough to know not to take on an undead dragon with a spear.
Jon hugs Arya fiercely.
Can't lose you again.
You'll never lose me.
Arya breaks the hug, a tinge of regret.
You know I have to go.
You need to heal.
Sansa's gone with Bran. You and Daenerys are taking on the Golden Company and Iron Fleet. You think I'm just going to sit and sew while everyone else fights?
Jon takes a close look at Arya. This isn't the same girl he left at Winterfell all those years ago.
Promise me you'll be careful.
As careful as I need to be.
Promise me.
Arya half smiles.
Don't worry. There's only one thing we can say to the God of the Dead.
What's that?
Not today.
Arya walks out, leaving Jon alone at the war table. Exterior Balerion deck, sailing day. Daenerys gazes at the lights of King's Landing in the distance. Jon joins her.
Tomorrow evening, everything will be different. Cersei will be dealt with. The citizens of King's Landing will be free from her tyranny.
That's a beautiful thought.
You don't think we'll win?
We still have to fight this fight, and Cersei won't surrender easily.
Dragons can be quite persuasive.
Then we have the Night King and his army of the dead.
We will have added the Golden Company and the Greyjoy forces to our ranks.
No wonder people follow you. You make it sound like everything is possible.
And you make everything sound difficult.
I don't have dragons.
Of course you do. You have me.
Daenerys kisses Jon.
I don't want to lose you. Either of you.
Daenerys places Jon's hand on her womb. The gentle waves rock the boat.
You won't. I'm yours.
And you are mine.
Jon pulls Daenerys closer to him. They look towards the lights, King's Landings together. Interior, the silence, big, day. Euron Greyjoy steps into the dark and dank dungeons of the silence. He walks past dozens of empty cells, stopping at the last one. Inside the cell is Yara Greyjoy, beaten and exhausted. Her arms are tied above her head. Euron unlocks the cell and goes. Interior, the silence, cell, day. Euron holds a torch close to Yara's bloodied face. She slowly opens her blackened eyes.
Miss me?
I'm wet thinking of the things I would do to you.
I do love our one-on-one time. But someone wants to intrude. Little Theon.
Leave him alone.
What? No witty comeback? Have I broken that icy Ironborn reserve? Or have I finally plucked the nerve that makes you tingle? You want to see him?
Yara's eyes roam around the cell frantically. Interior, the silence, deck, sailing day. Euron stands, eager for battle. In the distance, Theon's fleet sails toward them.
Come, little Theon. Come to Uncle Euron. I have a present for you.
Euron leans over the bow. Yara is bound and gagged, hanging over the waters. Euron laughs. Interior, Greyjoy ship, deck, sailing, day. Theon eyes the incoming fleet. He shouts to Harrig, who steers the longship.
We'll be on them any second now. Hold true and aim for the silence. Once we reach them, look for Yara.
Theon is interrupted by a deafening screech from Drogon. The great black beast flies right past them. A moment later, Rhaegal drives past the fleet. Daenerys maneuvers the massive dragon. Theon's men cheer. Exterior, the silence, deck, day. Euron watches the incoming dragons.
Just who I wanted to see.
A battle cry snaps Euron out of his mesmerized state. Theon's ships are mere seconds away. Exterior, Blackwater Bay, day. The two fleets collide. The sound of splintering wood fills the air as warships crash together. Gangplanks slam onto deck railings. Boarding parties with swords in hand rush onto enemy ships. Ironborn fights Ironborn. The Unsullied join the fray. Euron's fleet tries to board the Unsullied ships. The Unsullied release a volley of arrows, piercing the Ironborn's weak armor. Dozens of men collapse in an instant and fall into Blackwater Bay. Exterior, Blackwater Bay, sky, day. Daenerys watches the chaos beneath her as she soars on Dragonback. She shouts to Drogon and Rhaegal.
Dracarys.
The dragons light the Greyjoy ships ablaze. Men burst into flames and throw themselves into the water. Sails burn wildly and disintegrate in the wind. The dragon fire consumes the ships, sinking them instantly. Daenerys hears men screaming in high Valyrian. She looks down. A group of Unsullied have been caught in Rhaegal's flames. She does not have time to grieve. Daenerys flies Drogon higher into the air. Exterior, King's Landing, Mudgate, day. Harry Strickland and the Golden Company watch in awe as the Dragon Queen touches Euron's ships. Strickland faces his men.
They said old Tywin Lannister shat gold. Not only does Queen Cersei shit gold, she spews it from her cunt.
The men erupt in laughter.
Those wicked beasts will be no match for our scorpions. If we defend King's Landing, we'll be rich beyond our wildest dreams. We were told to expect a ground force, but all I see out there is a few measly ships.
Harry is cut off by the war cry of thousands of men charging directly at them. A host of Unsullied, Night's Watch, Wildlings, Knight of the Vale, and Northern men rush the beach. Strickland's bravado fades fast.
Ready? Hold formation!
The sellswords shout and ready their defensive position. Exterior, King's Landing, beach, day. Jon leads the vanguard alongside Davos, Jorah, and Beric as thousands of men charge along the beach. The two armies collide in an explosion of metal and death. Interior, Red Keep, throne room, day. Cersei Lannister sits poised on the Iron Throne. The mountain looms beside her. Lords and ladies fill the royal court. They are restless.
I assure you, no harm will come to us.
There are dragons outside the city walls.
Other lords murmur agreements.
I am aware.
And what is your plan, Your Grace?
We have the protection of the City Watch, the Golden Company, and Euron Greyjoy.
The Targaryen girl burned our soldiers alive for not bending the knee. Perhaps we should negotiate.
What did you say?
Perhaps we should negotiate.
That's what I thought she said. Sir Gregor, show this lord how we negotiate.
Two Queensguard grab the hapless man. The mountain approaches the frightened lord.
No, Your Grace, please!
Cersei squeezes the edge of the Iron Throne. Blood oozes from her fingers as the sharp blades cut into her flesh. The mountain unsheathes his massive great sword. In one smooth movement, he brings it down, splitting the lord head to groin. The lord is split from head to groin. He falls to the floor in two halves. The lords and ladies of the court blanch, but they hold their tongues.
Out! All of you.
The throne room empties quickly.
Where is the hand?
Qyburn enters and bows.
Your Grace, I was just informed that fighting has begun outside the city walls at the Mudgate.
Any word from the Night King?
My informants tell me he and his army should be here soon.
Good. I waited to meet this creature for quite some time. Evacuate the Red Keep. Everyone must leave save me, you, and the Queen's Guard.
At once, Your Grace.
Qyburn bows again and leaves the room. Cersei sits on the Iron Throne, alone. Exterior, the silence, deck, sailing, day. Euron slashes an unsullied soldier with his battle axe. Blood spurts from the unsullied's neck, making Euron's face red. 3 Northmen land on the deck. They encircle Euron, who lets out a bloodthirsty shout. Euron slams his axe into one skull, then he swings it to meet the blade of another. He kicks the man in the groin. An instant later, Euron cuts the man across the face, killing him instantly. The 3rd Northman turns to run. He crumples, a throwing axe lodged in his back. Euron pulls his axe from the fallen man, then walks towards the bow and Yara. He still struggles to free herself.
Here, let me help you.
Euron grabs Yara's wrist and frees her arm, yanking it toward his axe. Euron slashes Yara's wrist in one quick motion.
There we go, love.
Euron watches as Yara's blood drips into the ocean. Something rocks the ship. Euron stumbles. He peers over the edge and sees a translucent yellow glow in the water. Euron looks to Daenerys in the sky.
When the Kraken meets the dragon, let all the world beware!
Exterior, King's Landing, streets, day. Small folk watch in awe as Drogon and Rhaegal fly over the city. The Dragon Queen is here. As the 2 dragons unleash their fiery breath, the people's awe turns to fear. The small folk hide, cursing the gods. A 3rd dragon flies overhead, this one dark gray. Exterior, King's Landing, sky, day. A bright blue eye watches the battle below. The Night King flies on Viserion. He watches Daenerys blast the Greyjoy ships. He sees Jon's flight into the Golden Company. Viserion screeches. Daenerys and Drogon hear his cry, but as a massive scorpion bolt flies past them, Dany sees a row of deadly scorpion weapons set up at the Mudgate. She flies Drogon to the beach. Interior, Red Keep, tunnels, day. Varys leads Jaime, Arya, and the Hound through the dark tunnels under the Red Keep. Each carries a torch. The walls shake every few seconds. Dust falls. They hear muffled shrieks of dragons.
Smells like the Queen's arse down here.
And which queen would that be?
The one whose arse you sniffed.
Piss off.
An especially loud dragon cry pierces the walls.
Do you think we're winning?
We can only hope.
I have faith in our allies.
I thought faith was for the gods.
The gods can't help us now.
Varys stops at a 4-way intersection.
This is where I must leave you. Head down this tunnel until you see a slab marked with a 3-headed dragon. Move it, and it will lead you directly to a spot outside the throne room.
Where are you going?
I must convene with my little birds one last time. I bid you all farewell, and good luck.
Varys scurries into the darkness. Jaime, Ara, and the Hound head in the other direction. Exterior, King's Landing, Mudgate, day. Jon's forces clash violently with Cersei's. Beach sand flies as men on both sides are cut down. The Golden Company are equally matched with the Unsullied. Jon fights alongside Jorah, Davos, and Beric. Together they defeat man after man as they push up the beach. Jon impales a sellsword with Longclaw. He rips his sword from the corpse to parry another soldier's swing. The soldier kicks Jon's feet from under him. The soldier lifts his sword to smash through Jon's breastplate. Just then, the soldier is stabbed through the neck by Davos. Davos pulls Jon to his feet.
Up, your grace. Can't have you dying just yet.
If the Lord of Light wills it, today shall not be our last.
Beric ignites his now flaming sword. Men cower at the sight of the burning steel. With every swing, Beric scorches and slices the attackers. Jorah moves gracefully through the battlefield. Block, parry, kill. He ducks, rolls, and slashes, evading every danger. Jorah is no stranger to war. At the Mudgate, Harry Strickland watches the battle unfold.
Open the gates. Show them what happens when the east meets the west.
The Mudgate swings open. 3 enormous elephants clad in golden armor charge onto the battlefield. An elephant rider directs his beast into battle. The elephants trample men by the dozens. Heads explode like melons as elephant feet stomp men from both sides. At the beach, Jon watches as the 3 enormous creatures plow through countless men. An elephant barrels towards Jon and Davos.
Look out!
Jon grabs Davos as he dives out of the way.
How do we kill them?
Like any other beast, stab them till they stop moving.
In the sky, Daenerys glides along the walls of the Mudgate, incinerating rows of scorpions. None fires a single bolt before they explode from Drogon's blast. The elephants' roar sound out. Dany changes course to target the beast. An elephant swings its massive head back and forth, impaling men with its long ivory tusks. Drogon blasts it with scorching breath. The elephant is consumed by flame. It rears in agony, throwing its riders to the beach. The ignited elephant barrels toward the Mudgate, forcing the Golden Company to veer out of the way. The beast collides with the gate, setting it on fire. It collapses. Jon sees the opportunity.
The gate has been breached. Charge!
The men renew their raucous battle cry and charge with Jon. Interior, Red Keep, hallway, day. A stone slab lifts silently from the floor and slides to one side. The Hound hoists himself from the hole and stands. He helps Jaime and Arya out of the hole.
Follow me.
The 3 walk down an ornate corridor.
Where is everyone?
Halfway to hell, most like. Anyone with witch would have left this bloody place long ago.
Quiet. We're not alone.
The 3 press against the wall as 2 Queen's Guards walk down an adjacent hallway. Jaime signals. The 3 approach the guards from behind. The Hound nods to Arya. The 2 spring into action. Arya leaps on a knight's back. She lifts the knight's helm and slits his throat. The Hound grabs the other knight by the helmet and smashes him against a wall. The Hound plunges his sword into the guard's belly. The 2 men collapse, dead in seconds.
Oh, that went rather smoothly.
Smoothly for you.
That does matter most to me.
The 3 turn the corner to find 4 Queen's Guards standing ready at the throne room doors. At the sight of Jaime, they grip their swords.
Good lads. Would you permit me to see my sweet sister?
The 4 Queen's Guards draw their swords.
Fuck me.
The Hound launches and locks swords with a guard. Jaime draws his sword just in time to block a blow from another. Arya draws a needle and parries a quick strike from a 3rd knight. Arya dances around the Queen's Guard knight. She spins around his sword before stabbing him between chest plates with her dagger. Amidst the commotion, the throne room doors open. A hulking giant steps through. It's the Mountain.
Oh, fuck me.
The Mountain unleashes a massive 2-handed great sword and a destructive strike at the Hound. With his unnatural strength, the Mountain strikes down a Queen's Guard who blunders into his swing. The Hound blocks a blow from a remaining Queen's Guard.
Jaime!
Arya bends backward as a sword swings over her head. As her blade meets her attackers, Arya yells to Jaime.
Go! Face her!
We'll take care of these glorified cunts.
Jaime slays his assistant and enters his throne room. Exterior, King's Landing, Mudgate, day. Steel rings at sword meets sword. Jon's forces slowly advance. 3 sellswords surround Jon, but their dirty tactics are no match for Jon's high-born training. Jon uses the soldier's strength against him and flips his sword out of his hand. He goes in for the kill. Jon blocks a sellsword. Another sellsword charges. Jon spins quickly and slices the man's neck. Thousands of men now surround the Golden Company. Daenerys lands Drogon on the city walls. Rhaegal lands nearby. Smoke fumes rise from the dragon's nostrils.
Aim every scorpion we have at those bloody dragons.
What scorpions, my lord?
Smoke issues from the blackened scorpion, structures and bolts. Strickland's men look to him in despair.
We are the Golden Company. Our word is good as gold.
The Golden Company rallies. Drogon and Rhaegal position themselves to blast the remaining soldiers. Jon shouts to Daenerys.
Stop! No more men need to die today.
The Golden Company does not yield. We fight to the bitter end.
Fighting for Queen Cersei is a lost cause. You have no hope of winning the battle.
The Golden Company has never broken a contract. Our word is good as gold. I would hope no honor means something to northern scum.
He's not northern scum. You're speaking to royalty. Tell him the truth.
I am Aegon Targaryen, the rightful heir to the Iron Throne.
Harry considers this. The sellswords look confused.
Aye, and I'm Queen Cersei.
The men laugh nervously, eyeing the dragons.
He tells you true. This is Aegon of House Targaryen.
This has the soldiers' attention.
You have been exiled from Westeros to Essos, have you not? Join us, and you can come home for good.
The Golden Company is listening now. Strickland hesitates.
If you want to come home to Westeros, join us, and you may.
Strickland nods. Sellswords cheer. Dany and Jon share a look until Daenerys hears a cry in the distance. It's Viserion. Daenerys strides to Drogon, lifts off, and flies towards the cry as the army heads inside the Mudgate. Exterior, King's Landing, sky, day. Daenerys glides through the air on Drogon. She sees movement in the distance, a shape amassing on the horizon, the army of the dead. Thousands of skeletal creatures walk, led by White Walkers on undead horseback. Interior, Red Keep, throne room, day. Jaime enters the throne room, closing the large double doors behind him. Silence. Cersei sits on the Iron Throne. She regards Jaime as he approaches. Jaime stops at the base of the throne.
You abandoned me.
You threatened my life.
At our hour of greatest need, you abandoned me, abandoned our family.
Cersei holds a hand to her womb.
Are the rumors true? Do you mean to make a pact with the Night King?
Yes.
Then you truly are lost.
I am doing what's best for us.
There is no us.
We're all that's left.
There's an entire world out there.
They don't matter.
They say you take babes from their mother's arms.
Yes.
What happened to you? You were capable of love once. You loved your children, didn't you?
Our children.
They were never my children. You never let me be their father.
You hated them. You always did.
Do not claim to know what I feel.
Silence once again fills the room.
I've come to give you a choice. Surrender the city or be destroyed.
You and Tyrion were always hell-bent on destroying our family.
You destroy everything you touch.
I am trying to save our family and protect our legacy. There is no defeating this Night King and his army. You know that. The bastard and his dragon whore know that. Making a pact with the Night King is the only way to ensure our survival.
Jaime takes a step toward the throne.
You cannot make a covenant with a monster.
Dear brother, you are so naive. The people thought that the pretender queen and the bastard would save them from the end of the world. But Queen Cersei of House Lannister will end the long night. You can be here at my side. We can rebuild this world together.
You may have a chance at making an accord with the Night King, but at what cost? Humanity?
I don't care.
Closer to the throne, Jaime gives a hard look at the sister he once loved.
You're mad.
Sitting on this throne, as long as I have, has given me some perspective. Do you ever think that Aerys was just misunderstood?
Now in front of the throne.
I was standing here. There was no misunderstanding in order to burn the city to the ground.
Perhaps we must burn down the old world to usher in the new.
I cannot let you do this.
Cersei stands, smiles.
Jaime, you were the one who wanted me. You always wanted me. You came out of our mother's womb reaching for me.
She places her lips on his, kissing deeply and passionately. Jaime is taken aback, but he doesn't stop her. He pulls her close and kisses back. Cersei reaches up to her bosom to her pendant necklace. She rips it off. In her hand is a small, sharp blade. Cersei plunges it into Jaime's gut and rips. Jaime gasps. He looks at his sister in horror. Cersei's smile never wavers. Shock turns to anger. Jaime pushes Cersei against the throne, impaling her on its blades.
Sir Gregor!
Jaime grabs Cersei by the throat and squeezes. Cersei pulls the knife from Jaime's gut. She stabs him in the back over and over again. Eventually, her strokes grow less frequent and less forceful. Tears stream down Jaime's face as Cersei breathes her last. She falls, limp. All strength leaves Jaime's body. He too collapses on the throne next to his lover. Blood drips from the 1,000 edges of the 1,000 swords that shape the Iron Throne. The two leave the world as they entered it, together. Interior, Red Keep, antechamber, day. The mountain throws the hound against a wall. Chunks of marble crumble. The mountain lifts his sword, striking a stone pillar behind him. The support collapses, bringing down a hunk of the ceiling. Rubble rains on the hound as he parries the mountain's blows. The two remaining Queen's Guards bracket Arya. Arya stabs one directly in the eye with needle and skewers the other in the heart with the cat's paw dagger. Both men topple. The mountain knocks the hound's blade out of his hand and slashes him across the chest. The hound falls, blood spraying from the wound. The mountain towers over the hound. As he goes for his killing blow, Arya blocks his strike with needle. The mountain dwarfs Arya. Arya assumes the water dancer position. As the mountain charges, Arya dives through his legs. She slices one of his hamstrings. The mountain goes to his knee. As he tries to stand, Arya slices his Achilles tendon. Unable to stand, the mountain has been cut down to size. Arya paces around him.
Arya Stark of Winterfell. You probably don't recognize me. In case you were wondering, you didn't do this to me. I don't even know if you knew my name. I might have been Ari, or Weasel, when you were at Harrenhal.
The mountain looks at her as if he might recognize her.
It doesn't matter. You don't matter.
The mountain swings his sword, but Arya disarms him. The mountain crawls away from Arya, leaving a swath of thick, greenish, black blood behind him.
What matters is, you are on my list, and I don't have to kill you.
The mountain pauses.
Now that I'm Arya Stark of Winterfell, I don't have to kill you. But I'm going to put you down because you are a mad dog.
Weaponless, the mountain struggles to get away. Arya draws her cat's dagger. She goes to stab him under his breastplate. As she does, the mountain yanks her arm. Arya slips on the mountain's blood. Suddenly, the mountain turned the tables. He has her head in his huge hands. He squeezes. Arya screams in pain. She struggles to get out from under the mountain. She tries to stab him, but only hits armor. The mountain is going to crush Arya's skull. Then the hound slams into the mountain. He and his brother tumble.
Get off her, you half-dead cunt!
The mountain releases Arya, who holds her head. The hound yanks open the mountain's helm to reveal Sir Gregor's swollen, mottled face. Open sores ooze pus. Two beady eyes like those of an insect stare at Sandor with little human recognition.
What did they do to you?
The mountain grasps Sandor around his throat. The hound fumbles for his dagger, but it isn't there. He fumbles his wineskin instead. He uncorks it and douses his brother's face.
The torch girl!
Arya clambers to a wall to grab a torch. She hands the torch to the mountain. The wine ignites in a whoosh. The mountain releases the hound as he tries to slap out the flames with his enormous hands. The blaze burns blue-orange as Sir Gregor cooks inside his own armor. The mountain screams. The hound and Arya watches the mountain flails. Finally, he stops, his face charred down to the bone.
It's done.
It's done.
Arya and the hound stand in the litter of bodies. Exterior, King's Landing, sky, day. Viserion blast open the King's Gate with a massive blue fireball. Wooden rubble rain down. Thousands of undead wights flood into the city, sprinting through the streets and climbing over buildings. On Dragon, Daenerys watches in horror.
Dracarys.
An icy lance flies past Daenerys' head. On the ground, a White Walker reaches for a second spear. Daenerys commands Drogon to retreat as the army of the dead consumes the city. Exterior, King's Landing, streets, day. Whites kill everyone. Small folk, Lannister soldiers, and the city watch. Suddenly the chaos stops. The Whites stand still. A White Walker moves through the carnage. The icy creatures slowly lift his arms. Simultaneously, the recently deceased rise. They stand expressionless, devoid of life. Exterior, King's Landing, Fishmonger Square, day. Jon leads thousands of soldiers into Fishmonger Square. A distant rumble reverberates, growing louder every second, until they see the army of the dead charging.
Find high ground. They'll be here any second. Move!
The soldiers mobilize. Men climb on rooftops and walls, ready with swords and dragon-glass-tipped arrows. A few men brandish Valyrian steel blades with its telltale rippling sheen. Unsullied, Northmen, Night's Watch, Wildlings, Knights of the Vale, and the Golden Company stand together to face the coming darkness. Jon stands at the center of the square with Davos, Jorah, and Beric.
Defend here!
We'll be surrounded.
We have no choice. Hold the line.
The Whites stop charging inches away from the defending men.
What are they doing?
The dead stare blank-faced at the living. Viserion hovers. The Night King sits atop him, the sword drawn from the Winterfell crypts in hand. The Night King and Jon lock eyes. Without breaking his gaze, he points his sword toward Jon. The army of the dead charges and collides with the living. The war for the dawn is here. Exterior, the Isle of Faces, day. Sansa pushes Bran through the weirwood forest. Brienne follows. Ash leads them through the dense weirwood forest. The party comes to a clearing where the sun illuminates an enormous weirwood tree.
This is the oldest tree in the world. This is where the pact was forged many years ago.
Sansa, please bring me closer.
Sansa wheels Bran to the great weirwood tree.
I need your help, Sansa.
Of course. Anything.
I must bond with this tree. I do not know what will happen once I do. Whatever you do, do not break my connection. It is vital that I uncover this knowledge. I must know how to defeat the Night King.
Will you be safe?
I don't know. Do this for me, Sansa. It is my fate.
I promise.
This tree will allow me to see the secrets of the world. The secrets that have been forgotten to time.
Bran places his hand on the large face of the weirwood tree. As soon as his fingers graze the rough bark, Bran gets access to all of the history in a single instant.
Show me what I must know.
Exterior, northern fields, day, vision. Bran stands in a grassy field. A younger version of Bran watches Ned Stark swing his great sword Ice and behead Will of the Night's Watch.
He who passes the sentence must swing the sword. He swore an oath.
Father always believed in the importance of keeping one's word. He believed in duty, honor.
Interior, Tower of Joy, bedchamber, day, vision. Bran now stands in the Tower of Joy. A young Ned kneels over the bloodied bed of Lyanna Stark.
Promise me, Ned. Promise me.
Father made the ultimate promise, one he would take to his grave.
Ned is handed baby Jon Snow. Exterior, forest, night, vision. White Walker picks up an infant of Craster from the snow.
Agreements can be made to protect the innocent or to harm them.
Exterior, north of the wall, night, vision. In a different forest outside the wall, young Jon Snow kneels in front of a weirwood tree with Samwell Tarly as he swears his oath to the Night's Watch.
Night gathers, and now my watch begins. It shall not end until my death. I pledge my life and honor.
Jon took after his father in that respect, always keeping his word.
Exterior, grassy field, day, distant past, vision. Thousands of years ago, the children of the forest pushed a dragon-glass arrowhead into the heart of a first man. The man's eye turned an icy blue.
It is when pacts are broken that men suffer.
End vision. Exterior, the Isle of Faces, day. Sansa holds Bran as he convulses. Bran grips onto the tree tightly as red sap oozes from the werewood's eyes. Blood streams from the milk-white eyes of the three-eyed raven. Exterior, King's Landing, Fishmonger Square, day. The living clash with the dead. Hordes of whites race up the streets to battle Jon's forces. The Unsullied use dragonglass long spears to destroy the whites. Men fire hundreds of dragonglass-tipped arrows at the incoming horde, wiping out scores of mindless corpses. Stymied, the White Walkers lock eyes with each other, then with the Night King in the sky. The dead cease their frontal barrage and climb the surrounding walls like spiders. They leap over the blockade and attack the soldiers. Jon sees that the blockade has been breached.
The line's fallen. They are too many.
We need higher ground. There!
Beric points at the Red Keep.
Fall back!
Soldiers continue dying in the hundreds. Exterior, King's Landing, sky, day. As Viserion prepares to unleash blue hell in another gate, Drogon collides with his undead brother. Mid-air, Drogon's claws scratch at Viserion's wings. Viserion snaps at Drogon's neck. Viserion flies higher and breathes blue flame towards Drogon, but the black beast swoops low to avoid the column of blue fire. Daenerys circles Drogon back to meet the Night King on Viserion. The two dragons unleash fire and fury on the other. Drogon's red fire meets Viserion's ice blue in a massive explosion. Two unstoppable forces collide in a beautifully destructive moment. Exterior, the silence, sailing, day. Euron watches as 8 massive tentacles crack through the ice and rise from the depths of Blackwater Bay. They slither like snakes from the water and surround the enemy ships.
You're more beautiful than I could have possibly imagined. Now destroy them. Kill them all.
The slimy and puckered tentacles split ships in half with a smash. Men are crushed and drowned as ship after ship is crushed by the mighty Kraken. Euron watches in ecstasy until the two dragons cause a massive, fiery explosion. Euron strides to the bow, where a barely lucid Yara hangs.
Are you familiar with High Valyrian, my sweet? Foul language. But it is imbued with certain properties. Combine it with a little blood and you've got something terribly wicked.
Euron slashes Yara's wrist. Instead of letting her blood fall into the waters below, he sucks her blood from the wound, drinking deeply. He staggers back. He shouts to the heavens in a foreign tongue.
Great winds above, bend to my will.
The sky above King's Landing darkens as the storm materializes. Lightning crackles and thunder booms. The winds gain in velocity as rain lashes on the war-torn city. Exterior, King's Landing, Fishmonger Square, day. Jon Snow looks to the sky where storm clouds form. Rain peppers his face. Jon looks at his forces. Men die left and right, impaled and ripped apart by the undead monsters. Their dragonglass weapons fall and shatter. Valyrian steel blades are forgotten as men's bodies are ripped apart. These men believed in Jon. He failed them. Then, a volley of flaming arrows rained down, igniting hundreds of whites. A fresh complement of allied soldiers charge. They wear red ornate armor over orange robes. Some carry bows and flaming arrows, others flaming swords. The soldiers have flames tattooed across their cheek. They are the fiery hand, soldiers of the Lord of Light. Melisandre leads the army. She wields a fiery spear.
The cold is here, and the night that never ends. But our hearts are fire, and the Lord shines upon us. For the night is dark and full of terrors.
Melisandre slashes Whites with inhuman speed. Whites explode at the priestess's touch.
For the night is dark and full of terrors.
Advance, push them back.
The men drive back the army of the dead. A White Walker arrives on undead horseback. He charges through the defensive line of the living. A soldier of the fiery hand shoots the undead horse in the side, igniting its body. The horse throws the White Walker. The walker lets out a deafening, icy screech. Jon charges. The walker brings up his icy spear to meet Jon's blade. The two lock swords. The walker releases the hold and lunges at Jon. Jon sidesteps. The blade stabs the air. Jon slashes the White Walker with Longclaw. The walker shatters. Thousands of surrounding Whites freeze mid-fight. The living watch as the Whites collapse.
Is that it? Is that the last of them?
No, that was only the beginning.
Lead us, Jon Snow. Show the darkness the power of the light.
Burn the dead. Don't allow them to be turned. Follow me.
Beric, Melisandre, and the fiery hand spread their flames to the dead. Jon leads his men to the Red Keep. Exterior, King's Landing. Sky, day. The blood magic storm grows in power. Drogon and Viserion battle. The intense winds toss the two dragons off course. Drogon and Viserion spin wildly before they're blown together. Drogon and Viserion collide. The Night King reaches for Daenerys. Daenerys hangs on tightly while avoiding the Night King's grasp. The winds change and blow the dragons apart. The two dragon riders regain control of their mounts. Dany sees Jon's forces heading to the Red Keep. She flies in his direction. Exterior, King's Landing, Fishmonger Square, day. The Night King hovers Viserion above Fishmonger Square. He sees the great fire consuming the bodies below. Viserion unleashes his blue flame upon the orange ones on the ground. He covers the square with his blue breath, subduing the fires below. The bodies no longer burn. The Night King lands and dismounts the beast. He looks over the broken remains of the White Walker Jon killed and the thousands of corpses that litter the ground. 3 White Walkers approach on horseback and look to the Night King. Exterior, the Isle of Faces, day. Sansa holds onto Bran as he navigates his vision. Exterior, snowy battlefield, night, vision. The first long night that occurred thousands of years ago. Bran watches. Men and the children of the forest fight against the army of the dead. Countless soldiers die on both sides. The world is shrouded in darkness. Winter falls all over the earth. The Night King raises his fallen foes. End vision. Exterior, King's Landing, Fishmonger Square, day. The Night King and the White Walkers raise their arms. The deceased rise, their eyes pale blue. Exterior, King's Landing, streets, day. Jon leads the remaining forces. Thousands of Whites now populate the city. They stand still, all eyes on Jon. Jon halts. The men turn to see the threat.
What do we do?
We run. Run!
They run. Exterior, King's Landing, streets, day. Rain falls hard on Jon and the surviving men. Jon hears a series of screeches. A horde of Whites barrels down the street. The Red Keep is too far.
Move! To Aegon's Hill, now!
The soldiers sprint. Whites tackle the men, stabbing them to death. Another horde of Whites floods down an adjacent street. Whites collide with the column and take out men on all sides. Jon runs while hacking down any corpse. They shatter with the touch of Jon's Valyrian steel sword.
Follow me!
He veers down an adjacent street. Some soldiers behind Jon escape the threat. Others aren't so lucky. Jon, Davos, Jorah, Beric, and Melisandre race toward the Red Keep. Exterior, Red Keep, gate, day. Jon pounds on the gate. Only 100 men made it.
Let us in!
The gate swings open to reveal Varys. Jon and his men rush in. Interior Red Keep, courtyard day. Northmen slam the gate behind them. Jon immediately gets his men into defensive positions.
Man the walls. We can't let any of them get in. This is the last stand.
Melisandre and Beric command the remaining soldiers of the Fiery Hand as Jorah and Davos command the crenellations. Drogon and Rhaegal in the courtyard. Daenerys goes to Jon.
Jon.
Embrace.
We've lost.
I know. Are you hurt?
I'm still breathing.
Varys approaches.
My lord, a word.
Not now.
My lord, it is imperative that we speak.
What is it?
It appears that Cersei has placed caches of wildfire throughout the city. I believe we still have a chance.
What are you saying?
Varys motions to the two fire-breathing dragons.
If we ignite the wildfire, then we can take out the dead in one strike. The war may not yet be lost.
You mean use my dragons to destroy the city?
Yes.
You cannot be serious.
He's right.
No. Thousands of people still live.
Come with me.
Jon leads Daenerys up the stairs to the outer wall. The two look upon the destruction. Whites flood every major street. They tear through civilians and soldiers alike. White Walkers raise the dead. The Night King rides Viserion and blasts open the city walls so more dead may enter.
The city is lost.
We can save it. People still live. Women, children.
Every second we stand here, the Night King adds more soldiers to his army. If we stay and fight, we will lose and be turned. If we retreat, everyone here will be turned. We have no choice.
Daenerys takes a hard look at the city she has dreamt of her entire life.
I will be worse than my father.
It's better to die free than live a slave.
Bran watches Jon and Daenerys from the background. Exterior Red Keep, throne room, day, vision. Bran stands next to the Iron Throne. The Mad King shouts.
Burn them all!
Exterior Red Keep, courtyard, day. Bran watches. Daenerys looks to Jon.
Burn them all.
Aye. Burn them all.
Jon takes Daenerys' hand. Exterior river, day, vision. Bran watches Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark join hands. A silk ribbon is wrapped around their hands.
They started a war for love.
Rhaegar and Lyanna kiss on their wedding day. Exterior Red Keep, courtyard, day. Jon and Daenerys kiss.
They ended one for love.
Jon watches Daenerys mount Drogon. Daenerys takes off. Rhaegal follows. Jon turns to his soldiers.
Everyone get inside the Red Keep now.
Jon turns to catch one last glimpse of Daenerys as the door closes. Exterior King's Landing, sky, day. Daenerys glides over the streets. She looks down as innocents are slaughtered. With tears in her eyes, Daenerys commands Drogon.
Dracarys.
An enormous column of flame erupts from the jaws of Drogon. It slams into the streets, igniting the wildfire hidden below. Exterior King's Landing, streets, day. A massive green explosion. Wildfire engulfs the city. Rhaegal unleashes his breath and ignites more wildfire, creating a larger explosion. Whites and humans alike are vaporized. Countless lives end in an instant. Exterior King's Landing, sky, day. Drogon and Rhaegal set off cache after cache of the deadly explosive. A chain reaction is set off. Explosions ripple up the streets, destroying everything in their path. Daenerys hovers over the city and watches the destruction. Daenerys flies back toward the Red Keep. The Night King follows her. Exterior Red Keep, throne room, day. Jon enters with a few dozen men, a ragtag group of unsullied northerners in Fiery Hand. Jon takes in the sight. He walks to the Iron Throne as the men spread out throughout the room. He climbs the step to the jagged structure. Blood pools at the base of the throne. Jon touches one of the swords of the most powerful seat in Westeros. Exterior Red Keep, day. As Daenerys approaches the Red Keep, Viserion blasts Drogon. Dany veers. The icy blast hits the Red Keep ceiling. Exterior Red Keep, throne room, day. A chunk of ceiling falls, crushing men below. Blue flame bursts through the roof. The wall collapses.
Get out, now!
Debris crashes into fleeing men. A massive chunk smashes into the Iron Throne. Exterior, Red Keep, day. Daenerys speeds toward Blackwater Bay, drawing the Night King away from the Red Keep. Exterior, Greyjoy's ship. Deck, sailing, day. Theon clashes with Euron's men. He parries with enemy Ironborn. Theon and Harrig finish off their attackers. Theon sees the Kraken's tentacles smash ships on both sides. On the Silence, Euron shouts to the sky and the sea monster. As at the Silence bow, he sees her, Yara. Theon leaps to the frozen bay and sprints towards Euron's ship. Exterior, King's Landing, sky, day. Daenerys dodges Viserion's fiery attacks. As the winds pick up, Daenerys feels herself losing control of Drogon. The Night King loses control of Viserion. The two dragons fly clumsily as they hurtle toward exterior, the Silence, deck, day. Euron watches as Drogon and Viserion are forced to fly toward the Silence. All 8 of the Kraken's tentacles surface. The long appendages grab the two dragons mid-flight. Tentacles latch on to Drogon, holding him. The tentacles slither around Drogon. He screeches in pain. A tentacle strangles him. He tries to breathe fire, but the grip is too strong. Viserion is equally trapped by the Kraken's grasp. The Night King tries to use Dawn to cut the Kraken's puckered tentacles, but the flesh is too strong. As the dragons struggle, Theon climbs aboard the Silence. Mouth bloodied, Euron looks at the dragons in amazement.
Looks like the Dragon Queen and the undead fuck aren't so powerful after all.
Euron raises his hands. The Kraken squeeze even harder. Daenerys pounds on the Kraken's tentacles to no avail. As Euron is distracted with the dragons, Theon heads to the bow. He unties Yara. Theon releases Yara. He lets her down gently on the deck.
Your dragons will become mine. You will become mine. Everything will become mine.
Euron is tackled by Theon.
Little Theon.
Theon punches Euron. Euron shows no sign of pain. Euron leaps up and returns the favor, hitting Theon in the gut. Theon falls. He looks up as a massive tentacle crashes down on him. Theon rolls as the Kraken smashes the deck, fracturing the hull. Yara regains consciousness. She sees her bloody wounds. She sucks her own blood and swallows it. She watches as Theon and Euron fight while the dragons struggle for freedom. Yara shouts at the beast.
Back to the drowned god with you!
The Kraken releases its grip on the dragons. Drogon's blast fire, igniting the Silent sails. Drogon and Viserion fly back toward the city. Euron kneels over Theon, punching him repeatedly in the face. Two of the Kraken's tentacles grab Euron, lifting him high into the air.
Release me! Let me go! Let me go!
The Kraken rips Euron in half. His entrails fly into the water. Yara faints. A bloody Theon looks around as fire engulfs the Silence. Yara sits slumped, unconscious. The Kraken emerges from the water, its bulbous head enormous against the ship's sails. It opens its mouth wide to consume the Silence. With blade in hand, Theon leaps onto the Kraken, stabbing it in the heart. The Kraken lets out a great screech and retreats into the safety of the water, pulling Theon down with it. Exterior, Blackwater Bay, ocean, day. Underwater, Theon drives his blade further and further into the heart of the Kraken as it dives deeper into the ocean. The creature loses its strength. Theon looks up to the surface. He knows he won't make it. He closes his eyes. For the first time in his life, Theon is at peace. He knows who he is. He lets go of his strength and breathes in a mouthful of seawater. His body releases its hold on life as Theon becomes one with the drowned god. Exterior, Red Keep, courtyard, day. Jon and the remaining survivors race out as the Red Keep collapses. Everyone runs to the walls to view the sprawling city. Streets erupt in green flame as thousands of whites and White Walkers are vaporized in an instant. The chain reaction spreads wildly in every direction. A series of explosions make their way toward the Red Keep.
Everyone retreat! Take cover!
The explosions ripple back and forth as they detonate closer and closer to the Red Keep. As Jon climbs down from the walls, Rhaegal swoops down from above and lands in the middle of the courtyard. As if by instinct, Jon leaps on Rhaegal.
Get on!
Davos, Beric, and Melisandre all climb aboard the Green Beast. Rhaegal jumps up high and flaps his wings. He flies away from the Red Keep as the explosions breach the walls of the castle. In an instant, the explosions stop just before they reach the keep. Rhaegal glides through the sky as wildfire explosions boom throughout the capital. Exterior, King's Landing, sky, day. Drogon and Viserion weave in and out of the green blasts that emanate from beneath the city. As Daenerys and the Night King fly over the Dragon's Pit, a colossal burst of wildfire erupts from beneath the ground, obscuring Drogon and Viserion. Moments later, the two dragons tumble out of the explosion, their wings on fire. The two dragons scream as they lose control of their flight and altitude. The dragons spiral toward the ground, their wings charred and broken. Daenerys hangs on tightly to Drogon as the world spins and falls around her. The two dragons fall hard on the fields outside the city. Exterior, King's Landing, sky, day. Atop Rhaegal, Jon sees Daenerys' great fall.
Down! Down!
Rhaegal lets out a mighty roar and dives toward his mother. Exterior field outside King's Landing, day. Drogon is still. His body does not rise and fall with his breath. He does not move. Daenerys lifts and unravels herself from Drogon's broken wing, which has protected her from the great plummet. She falls off Drogon and collapses hard to the ground. She picks herself up and realizes that she is not alone. Viserion stares wildly at his former mother as he sits perched on the ground. The Night King sits perfectly poised on top of the undead creature. Without thinking, Daenerys reaches out a hand to touch her child. Viserion opens his jaws wide and blasts Daenerys with blue death. The flames engulf Daenerys, obscuring her from the world. The onslaught of flame continues for several seconds before stopping abruptly. The Night King looks at the ground. He flies off into the horizon on Viserion. Several feet away, Jon lands Rhaegal.
No!
Jon collapses to his knees. He looks down with dread upon Daenerys' disfigured corpse. She is cold and icy, frozen to the bone. Icicles cover her eyelids and extend from her exposed skin. A look of fear and suffering cements itself on her once breathing face. Jon reaches out a hand to touch her cheek. His fingers burn with the extreme cold, but he doesn't care. Jon holds her in his lap, not knowing what to do. The fire in Daenerys' Targaryen has gone out. She burns no more. A raven flies overhead, its eyes white. Exterior, the Isle of Faces, day. Bran's eyes jolt open, blood oozing from his sockets.
No!